David, a lot of the hum we hear in the background at the dairy show is farmers talking about feed prices. Can you from Kingshay cast an eye over that situation?
Yes, very, very much. I mean, the recent rise is quite recent. For most of this year, the feed prices have actually been lower this year than they were for last year. Now, a lot of the clients, who knew their cost of production and could see that it was lower than last year, even though the talk was it's going to come down, I think having the confidence and just seeing the market overall and how the feed fits into your own business, and the risk of paying £10 more as opposed to sort of £2 or £3 less is always quite a difficult one to get over people. But if you know your cost of production and you're fairly confident that if you made money last year and you got cheaper feed this year, you're going to make more money this year, accept that. And people who've done that and bought up to anywhere from January to April, May time would be doing very well this year. The recent rise, there's been created a perfect storm in the market, and it really started with the stock exchange. The stock exchange is very flat. Government bonds there's no return on those. The fund managers are looking for to make more investment or better returns, and they've returned to the traditional markets of feed, wheat, soya, and gold. Not that we feed gold, but they bought very heavily in those periods of time. Between April and May, they brought a lot of funds forward, and then now controlling the market. On top of that, the exchange rate has worked against us, and then there's always somewhere in the world there's going to be a disaster, whether it's Australia, and this year it happened to be Russia. And again, you've got the backdrop of increasing demand worldwide, particularly the developing worlds. Everybody mentions China and India, but it's not just those. There's a lot of North Korea, South Korea, and Japan. They're all buying up lands in UK, Ukraine, and all over the world to meet their own demand, because they're having to rely on these feed markets. And so the demand is there. The underlying demand is there. You take out Russia out of the equation, and suddenly everything all shoots up. And because the funds are holding so much of the stock, they can just drip feed it. They will use the markets. They will make the best returns they possibly can do. That's their job. And they have to do that, and everything else is sluggish. So they rely on the markets that are rising. And so it all occurred at the same price, all at the same time, when nobody had bought forward, and not enough people had bought forward. Everybody was going in the market at the same time. So everything was going on all at the same time, and suddenly you had a hike of £20 or £30 a tonne. And that's where we are now, and that's not going to change now until the funds start selling, and they're not going to start selling all the time the price is where it is, or they would just drip feed to keep the price up for the next 6 months really.
So we've got to like it and lump it effectively.
Effectively, as an individual farmer, you have no control on the market at all. And I think this is a big thing. If there's one thing that farmers do need to get hold of, is how little they are within the bigger market, and to really focus on their farm, their cost of production, and look at the effect of a £20 increase as against a £2 or £3 decrease, and just looking when the best time to buy. There is, on the other side of that, is that it is quite difficult for small farmers to book forward, or to get their a lot of the feed buyers have different risk management strategies. Some will buy forward, but some have done that in the past and caught cold, so they have a policy of only buying 1 or 2 months in advance. So they're not always in the best place to get the best offers. So with those policies, even within companies that have those policies, individual farmers are able to book forward, and it's the forcefulness and also the resourcefulness of the farmer to look around, not just the same company they use all the time. If your normal company won't let you book forward, then try some of the others. And there's always somebody there who's willing to book forward and get the price. If you think it's the right time, if other people are telling you at the right time, go ahead and do that, and don't be dissuaded by your company by saying, no, we think the price is going to come down. We won't do a 6-month or 12-month contract.
David, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.